62 last check, up 39. He's in Chicago, Vice President, Blue Line Futures, Oliver Slope. All right, Oliver, again, sizable sells here and no reaction from the market. What's that tell us?
Yeah, really good flash sales for corn this morning, which really isn't anything new. The demand for the corn has been really remarkable throughout the year, and the market's just kind of shrugging that off as the prospects of a bigger crop are obviously outweighing that, and we're lower yet again on Monday, which it seems like we're in Groundhog Day, the movie, right? It's the same thing every Monday, it seems like, for the last two and a half months. I think eventually we can probably start to carve out a little bit of a low. The contract low for December futures is going to be the line in the sand that we really want to defend. That comes in at 407.5, a break and close below there, and you're obviously looking at that psychologically significant $4 level. I think the thing that does concern me here in the near term is that funds are only short about 177,000 futures and options contracts, which last July they were short about 350,000 contracts. So if this crop and the expectations continue to grow, theoretically, the funds have powder to add, regardless of what the demand side of the equation looks like. So a little bit of a tug of war. I think there's still value in the corn market, but the chart and the path of least resistance is certainly leaning towards the bearish side for now.
And then over on beans, we just can't get any momentum to go higher.
Beans, similar type of story. The weather seems pretty ideal. It's still pretty darn early yet for corn and especially for soybeans to say that this crop is anything but made. But we are looking at, potentially better than expected yields, and that continues to weigh pretty heavy on prices. Now, we do have China and U.S. trade delegates meeting today in Stockholm, so potentially we can get a friendly headline out of that with regards to trade relations in China. If we do get positive headlines out of there, hopefully that can help us defend that psychologically significant $10 level and maybe just bounce back towards that cluster of major moving averages between 1025 and 1035. You've got the 20, the 50, the 100 and 200-day moving averages. So we get some positive headlines. I don't know that the market's going to run away because the prospects of a big crop is there. But I think at the very least, it can kind of help us hold together here going forward.
Well, speaking of running away, could the livestock markets run away this week? And primarily talking cattle markets. We'll find out. Stay tuned. Market Day Report continues in a moment. 2 months. Let's bring back in Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if the cattle market ran away this week based upon that cattle on feed report we got Friday, right?
That's absolutely right. The cattle on feed report, bullish across the board. Everyone was below expectations for on feed marketings and placements. And the cattle inventory report was down 1%, 94.2 million head. That's a record low for this time of year. So naturally, we get a gap higher to start the week. However, it's interesting to note that we did post a high very, very early in the session, and we're trading off of those highs. I think the closing price action here in the next couple of days is going to be really important to keep an eye on. Seasonally, you turn the calendar over into August and you start to see some weakness looking at historical trends. And most notably, just last August 1st was the start of about a 10 to 15% correction in a very short amount of time. So despite the path of least resistance still being up and to the right and the fundamental backdrop being strong, I think it's important to have prudent risk management here, and it's important to really not confuse prudent risk management and calling a top. This market's still in an uptrend, but I think that there is an opportunity here to at least establish a floor and put a little bit of peace in your mind while you sleep.
Yeah, a lot going on. And again, we look at the hogs, and hogs are well, kind of under pressure right now, in spite of the opportunity to maybe gain some market share.
Yeah, the lean hog market, we've started to see a little bit of a trend of long liquidation here over the last several weeks, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue, at least for the front month October contract. I think that rallies will probably look to be used as selling opportunities. Potentially, we start to see a little bit more bullish developments in those deferred contracts. As market share is going to be something to keep a close eye on here going into the back half of the year.
Well, we put both ham and our pork, which would be ham, right? We put both pork and beef on a pizza. So I'm not going to ask you which beef, but pineapple? Do you put pineapple on a pizza?
No, never pineapple. You go to pineapple, you get pineapple, you go straight to jail.
Okay, I like that. Oliver Slopes with Blue Line Futures. Okay.